Dill, good to see you.
Nice to see you, man.
Tell us, first of all, we'll get on to last night in a bit, but I just want to find out what you've been up to. What's going on in the world of Dillian Whyte right now?
I've just been training, living a bit, obviously looking at a few business things and just seeing where the land lies, because the heavyweight division is there's a bit of instability in it at the minute. We think this fight's going to happen, it doesn't happen. We think this fight's going to definitely happen, doesn't happen. And it seems to be a lot of that nowadays where guys is either scared to fight because they don't want to lose, or I don't understand why. It's entertainment at the end of the day. You know, people just say, oh, you're just saying that because he lost a few fights now, but it doesn't matter. I'm still one of the biggest guys around because I try to make big fights. I try and always go the most dangerous fight there is. Obviously, I lost against Fury. I came back and fought and defeated Jermaine Frankie, and everybody said, oh, he didn't do so well. But look, now Frankie went 12 rounds with Joshua, and then everybody's saying, oh yeah, Joshua's working and stuff, new coach. People forget I was working with Buddy for 6 weeks. You know, completely changed my I went from, what's remarkable, I changed my style completely in 6 weeks. Then I was boxing against my natural instinct because Buddy wanted me to work on certain things. He was testing me basically, wanted me to work on certain things. And he was also testing me to see if I can carry out the instructions he was asking me over a 12-round period. Because sometimes when the fighters go to new trainers, they do this, what they've been learning for 1 or 2 rounds and revert back to type. So for me, it was important to gel with him and to do exactly what he wanted. So I wanted to go to Frankie early. I thought I could have stopped him, but he was like, listen, there's big fights coming up. Just use your jab, work on the basics. He's an old school American 2-time world champion, you know, fought Pernell, Whitaker and guys like that. So I wanted, you know, for me, he's always schooling me, working the jab and stuff like that. So I did that. Everyone says, it was a boring 12-round decision. Yeah, I won by 4 rounds, you know. Joshua didn't do anything spectacular at all. Franklin, every time he hit Franklin would come back. I was able to back Franklin up and push Franklin back. And basically, even though I was trying out stuff and working to what Buddy wanted, I was still able to back him up, and I was still more aggressive, still threw more punches. In the last 2 rounds, I did what I wanted to do, and I almost knocked him out. I knocked him down, the referee didn't count the knockdown.
Do you think you get more criticism than others for winning fights like that? Because people expect you to be all action, almost picking yourself up off the canvas, knocking someone out, big shots.
I think so. I don't know why people always get more criticism, because these guys all been world champion, all been Olympic gold medalists. I'm just a guy that came from the street and I just know to fight. I can fight. I'm tough and I'm resilient. These guys had the full spectrum to develop, and they've been in GB squad, international amateur competition and stuff like that. I haven't had any of that. I had 7 amateur fights. I'm a guy that came from the street and I just know to fight. I'm tough and I'm resilient, you know what I mean? And people say, oh, he's inexperienced. I'm the one that's got the most inexperience out of everyone else, you know, but I fight undefeated fighters. I don't care. You know, if you think I'm coming off knockout, lost to Fury, I didn't say, nah, I want an easy fight. You know, obviously we know, I know how good Jermaine Franklin was, so I said, yeah, I'll fight him, and I fought him and I beat him. You know, I could have fought someone like George Washington or someone. I could have fought anyone and get with it because it's a comeback fight. You know.
Do you think your performance against Jermaine was better than AJ's?
100%. It was entertaining. And I was in there throwing lever. I was pushing the fight from the first round to the last round. I was pushing the fight. Joshua just seemed to be very methodical, and he was, I don't know, he just seemed to lose all his aggression. And also, one thing I noticed, every time Frank came faint like he was going to hit him, he would sort of like climb up a bit or whatever, and then he was landing a lot of single punches, you know, like trying to stay safe. Okay, hold that. He was doing enough to keep Franklin sort of in his box, you know what I mean? You know, when Franklin's, this is his second 12-round fight, there's a lot of uncertainty in his brain and in his approach to boxing at the minute. And I was thinking, Joshua should have watched the fight with me and him and pressed him a lot more and realised, if it was the other way around, if I fought Franklin after Joshua fought him, I'd have seen things, okay, I need to back him up, I need to keep him on the back foot, you understand? But, you know, this is a 2-time heavyweight world champion, the World Olympic gold medalist. If he can't figure that out, then it's not good. Or maybe he just doesn't want to take risks anymore. It happens sometimes, fighters just say, you know what, I'm going to pick up a few victories, make some money, I'm not really going to take any risks anymore. It happens.
It's funny you bring the money into it, because it was just something that crossed my mind. Do you think that, I mean, AJ's made a lot of money in terms of business in British boxing, he's been, above everyone else for the last decade, really.
Yeah.
Has that made him soft in any ways? He lost that edge?
I don't know, man. I don't know if it's money that's made him soft, or it could be the defeats, could be getting knocked out and getting outclassed. I think it's more that than money, to be honest. I think it's because we have different fighters. I'm a guy that's had a lot of adversity in my life and had to come back from a lot of bad things. Since I was a child, it's always been like that for me. So for me, it's like, and I'm not someone that complain or moan about stuff like these guys that goes, I got mental health this, I got this, I got that. I just get on with it. I don't moan about nothing. If you hear me moan about something, then it must be something that I'm on the verge of going off. So, but, I'm used to coming back. But these guys are like say, yeah, this was going on or that was going on. I never say anything, There've been fights I had with broken hand, broken ribs, busted ankle, all of these things, and I've gone in and fight, and people say, he looks a bit this, he looks a bit that, but they don't, because I don't complain, I don't mention. So when I fought Joshua the second time, I needed shoulder reconstructive surgery before going into the fight, but I knew that there's a puncher's chance I had in the fight, and I landed the punch on my shoulder snapped, but I'm a warrior. I'm not someone that's going to be, yeah. I didn't even mention the shoulder surgery. I just went to hospital and had the surgery the next day, and then I don't even know people find out, and that was it.
What about that fight? So obviously there's potential that AJ is open for an opponent. Your name's been mentioned. Do you still see it as 1-1 between the pair of you?
He's 1-1. Of course it's 1-1. It's a logical fight. Fury is not a safe person to negotiate because they mess you around. If he's out fighting undisputed cruiserweight champion, unified heavyweight champion, 30% and not taking the fight, what's he going to offer Joshua who's got nothing? He's never respected Joshua. He's always think Joshua is way beneath him. So what's he going to offer Joshua? The fight's not going to happen because he's going to offer Joshua 15%. And Joshua's not going to take that. So I don't know why they're wasting their time. When there's someone here that's willing to fight, up for fighting, ready to go. But for some reason, anytime my name is mentioned, Joshua seems to try, I don't know if it's a tactic of his, to try and brush it under the carpet, or he just doesn't want to fight me or whatever. I don't know, because he knows my mindset. I beat him before he's beating me. We know each other. He knows my mindset is, can say all you want, do whatever you want, you're a better fighter, you're this and the other. I don't care. He knows my mindset. My mindset is I'll come to fight, and he knows that I carry power in both hands. And if I touch him, and obviously he can see what's working in the body. It's not there yet, but it's going to be a problem for a lot of people once I get it right.
Is he more vulnerable than he was when you fought before?
He was vulnerable before. He was vulnerable. Joshua is a good fighter, but he's always had vulnerabilities because in his head, he's vulnerable in here. Obviously, back then he came from GB, he had the setup, he had the surrounding, Rob McCracken. These guys were working with him for years. He had the sports psych and everything. Everything was done for him, and he was controlled. Now, he's doing like what Mike Tyson did when Cuss died. Break away from the cocoon, and now he's having problem because that security is not there anymore. Now he's been left alone and do his own thing. He's acting crazy in his last 3 fights. He's acting crazy. Like, he showed more aggression in the end of the fight against Franklin than he did the whole fight. It's like he started trying to headbutt. I was thinking, what are you doing? You're not a bad boy. You're not like that. Why are you pushing? I don't know. Maybe he just do stuff to try and create some sort of controversy or something. Because I was thinking to myself, there's no point in you doing that. You should do that. When Franklin nudged him and pushed him back onto the ropes, he should have came back with that. He's hitting the guy after the bell and walking with the head in his. That doesn't impress anyone. That doesn't impress anyone. If it happens there and then in the fight, then it happens. It's excitement. But you doing that after the fight to create some sort of excitement. It's like, bro, you're doing too much, bro. Just have a cup of tea and relax.
I asked him afterwards if he still felt the same desire, and he says he does. He says he still enjoyed it. He says he still has that burning motivation going into that fight as he felt in the previous world title defences, and he still is focused on getting another world title. Do you believe him? No,
I don't believe him, because if you watch the early fights when he was fighting for the title and against the Usyk fight, he was. But I understand it's a big fight and whatever, but there's one time when he was wrecking guys, he was trying to wreck guys. He wasn't trying to wreck Franklin. He was trying to, I don't know, it was like he's trying to, okay, I'm going to show you whatever. But at the same time, when he hit Franklin and Franklin came back, he was sort of like, it was sort of like, was one time if you hit him, he would come back, Obviously, that's a Brendan desire. You can see the fight with me and Franklin in the later rounds. He hit me, and I just started applying the pressure, you know what I mean? I apply the pressure, you know what I mean? Because that's what Brendan desire is.
Promoter Eddie Hearn afterwards said that, and Derek James said the same thing actually, that as much as AJ seems to want the Fury fight, you don't believe it's going to happen. They want an interim fight either way. Again, going back to your name, going back to that, why does that fight make sense right now for both you and AJ? British
rivalry so, and this is a genuine rivalry. It's not a made-up rivalry like you were trying to do with Franklin. This is a genuine rivalry. It's a rivalry that's gone on throughout the years, and it's a trilogy, so why not do it, I want to be one of those fighters that have trilogies in my career, And I want another fight before that fight anyway, because I've been at my last fight is November. I'd love to fight in June, so his nose is all bust up and splattered, so he's gonna need a few months out to let that heal anyway. So he won't be able to fight until September, October time, maybe even December. So that rate's perfect for me. I get one in June, and then we can fight October, December. Perfect.
I remember how bad the blood was between you, obviously, around the first fight. Has it in any way mellowed? Have you spoken much since? I mean, how's that relationship developed?
I've been cool and respectful towards him, but he's a he tries to do like sly niggling things and try to do little things and say little things that look belittling things and repost a video of him knocking me out. I'm like, bro, that was like 1,000 years ago. It's like, let's get the fight on now. We're both in our career now. We've both been through ups and downs. We're both growing mentally and as a person. Let's fight again. Let's fight again. Now I'm injury free. Let's fight again.
How does the fight end if you fight again?
I'm gonna knock him out this time. I'll knock him out this time. No, I'll definitely knock him out this time. I'll knock him out this time, and I'll knock him out. I'll get knocked out trying to knock him out.
You said you want another fight then. So, opponent-wise, in between, what are we talking? I mean, is it like Chisora 3? Is it someone else?
Chisora 3 is good. Carlos Stackham's good. Pulev is there. Who else is there? I don't even know. Those are the only relevant guy there is. Stackham just come off defeat against Tony Yorker, Olympic gold medalist. So that's a good one. Chisora is a good one because another British rivalry, and obviously, one thing I like about Chisora is he comes to fight. He doesn't care. When he's got a good mentality. When he's a joy, he just wants to be entertaining big fights and he wants to get paid. So you have to respect that. And he always comes to try. He never comes to lie down. People writes him off, but he comes and he tries. But Stackham's a really good fight as well. Obviously, with the last victory for him, he's now a big name. He's now a big and that's a great thing with boxing. One win, take a chance. One win, and you're back in the big picture.
Something that struck me, AJ said that Fury needs him now more than ever because the Usyk's fight's gone away, and he's kind of the one that, in theory, is the big opponent that can sell a big fight. Out of interest, do you think AJ needs you in the same way to try and help him if he's going to get back to that top?
Of course, because he's struggling to sell out L2. He's struggling to sell out L2 because he needs dance partners. I need dance partners. He needs dance partners. No, people want to see you in exciting fights. It's like, if he doesn't fight Fury, then who's he going to fight next? If he don't fight me, Fury, or Wilder, then who's he going to fight next? Wilder, we don't know what Wilder's doing. Wilder's probably trying to fight Usyk or trying to fight someone else because he's been out for a while as well. He might fight, I don't know,
Well, the thing is with Wilder, he's just popped in at number 1 on the WBA rankings, I think, which suggests that possibly that might be something for Usyk. Do you think that might happen?
I don't know, man. I don't know. Usyk's got mandatories as well. I think he's got 2 mandatories. Dubois, Erkovic, and IBF is quite strict. WBA seems to be strict as well, so I don't know. Dubois has got an interim title, so...
But he's also potentially injured, that's what I'm thinking,
Yeah, well, listen, I just want the biggest fight to happen. So, if he fights Usyk, then he beat Usyk, Usyk beat him. These guys are running out opponents. There's not a lot of us top-level guys left, so we just need to fight each other, make big fights, make a lot of money, fight for the belts, keep boxing alive, and then see what happens,
Is boxing in a bit of danger? Because I remember, think how many times we spoke during that period when you were waiting for your world title shot. Like, it was years. And you were there and you did everything asked of you again and again and again and again. And we're now in a situation where, for example, the Fury AJ fight, the Fury Usyk fight falls through. You know, what sort of state is boxing in and how do we fix it? Because it feels like something's broken.
Everyone just needs to fight each other. Stop avoiding each other. Stop putting promoters on TV and just fight each other. Because everybody's scared to lose. Everybody's so, the world you're in now, everybody is a bit fragile. Everyone's like, oh, I lost 1 or 2 fights. Oh, you know, people's mind get messed up. So what? Listen, you lose a couple of times, or as long as you're in big fights and it's entertaining fights, it's sports. You can't win everything. You're going to lose at some point. It's normal. It's sports. You know, sports.
And is politics playing too big a role in boxing?
Yeah, politics has always been a role in boxing. Always been a role from day one.
What about, I just want to ask you before we finish about Fabio Wardley, obviously. He's still undefeated, another good win last night. What did you make of his performance?
Fabio's performance was good. You know, obviously, I think that referee definitely robbed him of highlight reel knockout. You know, it was a bit of a shame, you know, obviously. But I understand, as a referee, it's a hard job because sometimes they can stop it too soon or sometimes they can stop it too late. It's a difficult job being a referee. It's difficult, but I'm just sad for Fabio because I'm sure that's a good name for him. You can see the guy was powerful, the guy was tricky, and he was better than what I thought he was, to be honest. But, you know, full credit to Fabio. Fabio wanted to step up, you know. He's doing all the right things, you know, obviously. Only thing I said to him, Fabio, I look at the guy, he's bone dry. He's not warmed up properly at all. Start early. I said, Fabio, start early and start closing the gap early. He's strong, but he'll gas because he's not warmed up. And then after Fabio, he worked his way into it. But obviously, his coach was on the same page. He should have kept a close distance with feints and stuff. Fabio's a funny one because he's got all the attributes. He's very agile, very quick, very tall, very sharp. But sometimes, for some reason, he likes to get a couple of punches in his dome before he wakes up. But some fighters are like that. Some fighters go in. Some fighters like to feel a few punches in their arm, feel the guy's power, get the guy's timing and stuff like that. But so I think he's one of those guys.
What next for Fabio? I mean, obviously, Fraser Clark was ringside calling him out. There's a couple of other potential big British opponents. Who would you like to see him fight?
I'd like him to bash Fraser Clark in, to be honest. You know, I'd like him to bash him in, but I'd like him to bash all of them in. Samuel Dacus, David Adelaide, Fraser Clark. I'd like him to bash. I'd like those to be his next 3 fights, to be honest. But the way boxing work and the finance and the different platforms and stuff, it might not happen that way. But I'd like it to happen. I'd love it to happen.
Does that not go back to what we were saying before, though? You know, we just got to get these fights made, right?
Yeah, people need to work with each other, but everybody's, oh, I don't like him, I don't like this. Just let the fight be made, man. Let the fight be made, you know. So what if you're one fight here, another fight there? As long as the people can work together, then everyone benefits, you know.
And how does the Clark-Wardley fight go, do you think?
Why do we knock out Fraser Clark? Fraser Clark's like, he's experienced as an amateur, but he's not experienced as a pro yet. Amateur boxing and professional things, 2 different things. And now that's why I want Fabio to fight now, because it's a good time. He's talking out of his box, you know, obviously. He's talking out of his box. Who was he fought? Kamil Sokolowski and some other idiots. No disrespect to these guys. I fought Kamil Sokolowski like 200 years ago, you know. Fraser Clark is struggling with, what did he struggle with, you know? He fighting Bogdanio and getting big cuts above his eyes, and I'm like, them guys, you know, I tried to fight those guys when I was coming up. When they was undefeated, they didn't want no problem. None at all. Them guys, you know.
And what about you then? I mean, look, I've spoken to AJ a few times this week. He's spoken about wanting to, you know, still dreaming of that world title, that kind of thing. I mean, what about you? You obviously waited a long time for your shot. How do you see your career from here on in?
Honestly, I'm trying to have one more world title fight. I'd love to fight AJ and Fury again. Those are the only other 2 losses. I can fight them again and fight for the world title, then that's me. I'm happy, man. I'm happy. Whatever happens after that, happens. If I call it a day after for a fight on, happens. But that's my goal, you know. Stay busy in the meantime, because I understand that big fights are happening, and sometimes you need to just hold the corners a little bit and just stay active and stay relevant, you understand? If I can fight Joshua again, it'd be a great way to get a chance to avenge my second defeat, you know, and then, you know, it'd be good if I can fight him, get in a position to fight Fury again, then that'll be good, and fight, win the world title, and then I've done everything there is for me to do in boxing.